leaders of the Islamic movement here, including Khalil Sabra. You see her right here in this Free Palestine march, and you may not be able to see, but if you look down here at the bottom, you see at the bottom of that banner, it's the Answer Coalition, Act Now, Stop War, End Racism. These are hard left Marxist groups having a rally to free Palestine. They're talking about the Hamas movement, the Palestinian movement.
There in Gaza, violence is born and bred in Tel Aviv. The Palestinian with barely anything to define himself.
This is the same Khalil Sabra who wrote the press release for the Muslim Brotherhood in the form of the Muslim Marriage Society after Osama bin Laden was killed, where she hailed him as a visionary, as a great man. We see, first of all, her name on the statement. We see there where she hails him as a great man, and this is what this says. Osama bin Laden cared unrelentingly about the Afghan Muslim children in the same way he cared about his own children.
Right.
He was a visionary who believed in the possibility of an Islamic State in Afghanistan and the possibility that this thing might someday be. There was nothing wrong with that dream, even if it differs from the one that all Americans have here for themselves. Here you have a woman who's speaking on behalf of the Muslim Brotherhood in the United States, calling Osama bin Laden a visionary. And so for all the government agencies out there working with the Muslim American Society and all the churches out there working with MAS, you may want to consider that next time you open your door to these people. But all that aside, what do we see? Well, we see that in a video taken from the December 2015 Muslim Brotherhood Conference, sponsored by the Muslim American Society and the Islamic Circle of North America in Chicago, we see these two things that you're about to see in this film. We see the leader of Hamas directly linking the Islamic movement and the Hamas movement to the Black Lives Matter movement, and we see Khalil Sabra calling for revolution in the United States. Let's take a look.
Black Lives Matter is our matter. Black Lives Matter is our campaign.
Forget Black Lives Matter.
Let's clean our own house first. Let's recognize that we are the community that staged a revolution across the world. If we could do that, why can't we have that revolution in America?
And what has been the response of American leadership? Well, we're actually going to do an entire episode of the jihadi penetration into our system and the failure of our American government. And those of you who follow GTT know that we have laid out a number of examples of serious penetration into our government, into our religious system, our media, our political system, and our security apparatus. And we'll go into depth in that in another episode. But for now, I just want to give one example. One that just stands out as a tremendous example of how broken we are. So let's look right now at this one example. Right here in this picture, we have on the far right, Congressman Lindsey Graham, on the far left, Senator Blumenthal of Connecticut, and there in the middle is John McCain on the right,
I knew that. We knew about McCain.
And what's going on in here? Well, we have a little love fest going on between three members of Congress and Abdel Hakim Belhaj. No big deal, right? Well, except for the fact that after 9/11, Belhaj was working with Al-Qaeda. He was captured by the United States, rendition, held in captivity, and then a couple of years later turned over to the Libyans who held him in prison. He was incarcerated for over 7 years. He's now the commander of ISIS, one of the leading ISIS commanders in Libya. And this is the response from our American government. This is not just stupid or foolish. This is dangerous, and it's treasonous, and it's materially supported through propaganda, through propping a guy up who is our enemy and who's already fought against us. And so here's part of the problem. We don't know how to discern between our enemies and those who are not. We don't know how to discern between friend or foe. And obviously, if you look at that, it couldn't be more clear in one picture.
Are we supposed to trust your judgment if you're photographed with known terrorists? I have never had anything to do with known terrorists, and I'm offended by your question.
Oh my goodness.
I will assume that these three members of Congress are just
What a traitor.
and incompetent and unprofessional. Let's just give them the benefit of the doubt. Because if we assume they know who this guy is, then that makes them treasonous. And we need to deal with that. That has to be dealt with legally. Because this is a broken system. This is why we are where we are today. This is a perfect example. Well, what else do we see? Well, actually,